and welcome to season 6 of my podcast. Today, my guest is Kristina Yolanda, who is a program associate at Global Food Partners, where she manages their model cage free farm. Prior to this, Kristina worked with her dad's firm dealing with plastic recycling and went on to study marine plastics abatement. Hi, Kristina. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Zidane. Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you for a nice introduction of myself. Happy to be here.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm also really happy to have you here.
Yes. Look forward to your questions, and hopefully I can give a good answer to all your questions.
I hear about plastic's harm to the planet every day, but there's plastic in everything around us in our daily life. I'm curious to know if there's a way to use plastic in an environmentally friendly way.
Yeah. I agree that plastic is everywhere. It's omnipresent. We use plastic every day in almost all of our activity, and I don't think we can live without plastic anymore. And I also don't think that there is a way to use plastic in a 100% environmentally friendly, but feel that there are ways that we can do to to minimize the all the effect that the plastic are causing. So you might have heard about the terms reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? You might be familiar with it.
Yeah.
And these three words are actually put in hierarchy. So you should prioritize to reduce first, and then reuse, and then recycle. So recycle should be your last option. So whenever possible, you still need to reduce the plastic. Like whenever you do shopping, you should um you should not ask for like plastic bag as much as you can, and then to reuse. Then whenever you have, maybe when you have a takeaway food container, you can reuse the plastic. And the last option is to recycle. And even to recycle also, you need to dispose the plastic properly, right? And to even make it even better, you can also like wash the plastic first and make it dry, and make sure that you put it in the correct bin. Because like in the I think in public area, maybe in Singapore as well, I'm not really sure how it is, but usually there are several bins of several trash bins available, right? And there is one for organic, and there is one for plastic. So if you want to throw away the plastic, then make sure then that you put it in the correct bin, not the organic waste. And make sure it's not mixed with the organic waste. That way, then it will be easier for us to recycle the plastic.
Yeah. In Singapore, there isn't like that much of like organic wasting. But when I went to the US a few years ago, over there, like
Mhm.
every day, there used to be this compost bin where you put your
Mhm.
banana peels or your apple cores, and then every day, this person would come in the morning and collect it and make it into like plant fertilizer and stuff like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing will be really helpful to help this plastic waste issue. And I'm sure in developed country the system is much more better, like you mentioned in US and also in Japan, if you've been there, where you divide the waste into a lot of categories. So it's easier to ask for the recycling company to recycle. But in developing country, like for my situation in Indonesia, it's quite hard because because I think the behavior of the people also is the mindset is still very different from those living in developed country. And even here, even though we have the bin for organic and unorganic waste, people still put their waste like uh, not according to where it's supposed to be. Like there are people that just throw the plastic waste into the organic trash bin. So that kind of thing happens a lot. And even though you already separate the waste, sometimes the waste still get mixed in the truck that take the trash to the landfill. But the good thing is in Indonesia as well. I think now there are more startups that are really concerned about this issue, and these startups they work to make this recycling activity more easy for us to do. Like they have like plastic credit where when you can dispose your plastic bottle in a vending machine, and in turn you can get a credit or a points, and then you can get a benefit from it. So yeah, but it's still far from the developed country here, but yeah, we are working step by step. So hopefully we will also get there soon.
Yeah, like I don't know where, but somewhere I read that in one supermarket somewhere there's like
Mhm.
this bin. It had organic waste and normal waste, but then when you remove the lid, which had the two separate holes, it was just one bin and there was no divider.
Yeah, that kind of thing happens a lot. Uh, so actually, the purpose of separating the waste is to reduce the contamination of the plastic waste, right? Because if the plastic is contaminated by the organic waste, then we need to do extra effort to clean the plastic, and it will also reduce the quality of the plastic. So that's why it's very important to separate it. But yeah, it's not easy to change people's behavior, right? So yeah, but yes, yeah, I'm also, yeah, I've also seen that a lot, even for people who are well educated, like in the university area, I can still see that happens a lot. So yeah, it's very challenging.
Yeah, like it must be very hard for a country to like suddenly have like full recycling. It takes some time, right?
Yeah, it takes some times, and also uh, there are just so many types of plastic, right? I think the most common that we see is, of course, the plastic bottle, and that's the type of plastic that can be recycled the easiest. Plastic bottle, and also the plastic bottles cap. It's very easy to recycle it, but also other than that, there are also a lot of other types of plastic that is not that easy to recycle. So the challenge for the government to set up the plastic recycling facility is how can we recycle the other type of plastic that are not widely recycled yet, just like the styrofoam. If you know styrofoam, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's one type of plastic that's the most challenging to recycle, because and also PVC. PVC is the one that's used for the water pipe, because if we recycle it, it can also leak some kind of toxin, which is not good. So yeah, the challenge is how to recycle the other type of plastic, because it's not easy, and there are just too many type of plastic available.
Yeah, like I have this plastic bottle with me, but it's not like
Mhm.
ones where you just throw it away. This one, like you can use it every day.
Yeah, that's the reusable plastic, right? I think that's the usually it's the polypropylene type. So if you check under the bottle, usually you see a triangle with a number in it, and that's how we how it helps to classify its type of plastic. So for the water bottles that you have, it's mostly the the triangle with number 5, which is the safest for food, and it's also safe to be reused again and again. While the commercial plastic bottle, mineral water bottle, it's usually the number 1. It's the polyethylene, and it's safe for food, but it's not that safe to be reused over and over.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like under a lot of bottles here, I see like a triangle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This triangle is helpful for us to understand what kind of plastic it is, but also sometimes it can be misleading for the people, because whenever people see those triangle, then people can think that, oh, we can recycle it, or that one is recyclable, but that's not really the case. So there there are 7 numbers of the triangles. From 1 is the polyethylene until, and then there is also 5 is polystyrene, the styrofoam, and then, oh no, polystyrene is 6, sorry. The styrofoam is number 6, and then the one that we use for food container is usually number 5, polypropylene, like your water bottle.
Yeah.
And then the number 7 is for other. It's for other type of plastic. It's like the plastic that we use for your gadget, for your handphone, for your laptop, and also for your car as well. So other kind of plastic. Yeah. Yeah. There's even plastic on your phone as well. So
Yeah.
it's just everywhere. Yeah. But the truth is, not all of these 7 types of plastic can be recycled. So that's what I hope people can understand. That doesn't mean that everything can be recycled. It's not easy. Even if we can recycle, but maybe it's not economically viable. So it will be much more expensive to recycle it. So it will not be worth it.
Yeah. Can you can you explain to me how big of a problem this is? Whether it's not that small of a problem and we can just get over it, or whether it's really, really big.
I feel that it's really, really big. Even though now I don't work in this area anymore, and I'm also not really an expert, but I just want to tell about, based on my experience and the study that I did in Thailand. uh, I feel that it's a really big and complex issue, because the first reason is just like what you mentioned, right? Plastic is everywhere. We use it every day, and we cannot live without plastic. And plastic is just so cheap, so durable, that there is no other material that can compete with this plastic yet. And yeah, so it's very hard to live without plastic. But at the same time, once the we are done with consuming the plastic, it's also very hard to get rid of the plastic from the environment. So that's why a lot of the most of the plastic will just end up in the environment, and also mostly it will end up in the ocean. Maybe you have seen picture of uh, turtles with straws stuck in his nose, or with birds, that birds that when you cut open its stomach, then you can see a lot of plastic in it, and whales also. So that's why more and more people are getting more concerned about this, because we can really see how it affects not only us, but also the other animals. They can get entangled, like a lot of birds get tangled to the by plastic, like from the fishing net, seal also. And yeah, a lot of these animal, like the sea turtles, they cannot really differentiate between which one is plastic and which one is their food or the jellyfish. So oftentimes the sea turtle, they mistook the jellyfish, the plastic bag that is in the sea as the jellyfish. So that's why they eat this plastic bag, and they cannot digest this plastic bag, and yeah, it causes harm to their life. And other than this plastic that so other than this plastic with this big size, or we call as macroplastic, there is also this new term that come in this past few years. It's called the microplastic, and it's the topic that that's more people are also paying attention to. So for macroplastic is a plastic type that we can really see by our naked eyes. But for this microplastic, it's a very tiny plastic fragments that only has the size of less than 5 millimeter. So it's hard to notice this kind of plastic, but it's everywhere. Can be in your food that you just ate for dinner. It can be in your drinking water. It can be in the air that you inhale. So it can be everywhere. And even there's this research that say that uh, most human might consume at least the size of a credit card. So you know a credit card, right?
Yeah.
So so they say that we consume microplastic with that size every year.
Well,
And but the problem is we don't know yet how this microplastic affect our health in long term. So that's a lot of research going on about this. There are a lot. There are there's some research that say that it can affect our cell. Like it can cause inflammatory and all, but there's no really um, clear evidence yet about this. So yeah, it's really interesting, and sometimes there are a lot of startup that are trying to work on this plastic waste. Like for example, a startup that use the plastic waste into concrete or mix of asphalt. Have you heard about that?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, so there are some startup that use the plastic waste, just like grinding it into tiny flakes and mix it into the asphalt or concrete. But then after the plastic waste is mixed with this asphalt and concrete, that then another problem arise, which is what if the microplastic leaks from this asphalt or the concrete? So I feel that it's a big problem because uh, it affects a lot of people, and it also needs a lot of people to get on board to solve this issue. Needs everyone's effort to solve this issue, and also sometimes even some people trying to solve this issue, but after solving this issue, then there come another issue. So just I feel just it's a never ending issue. I haven't really see any solid concrete solution yet for this issue. So that's why I feel that it's a big issue.
Yeah. So like I saw in this documentary a few days ago, like it said that we can't live without plastic, but we also don't know how to live with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we
it's a
like,
good quote.
because we always litter it everywhere, but without plastic, we couldn't be talking to each other right now, or without plastic,
Mm,
we couldn't have a place to store our water or keep our food safe.
yeah, agree. It's a good quote. Yeah, agree. Yeah, we live with plastic now, but we don't really know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I agree with that quote. Some people say that plastic is not really the issue, but the issue is with the system itself of how we use the plastic and how do we manage the plastic that after we are done with the consumption. So yeah, I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, and we haven't found a way on how to create a good system that there is some system, but it cannot really accommodate all the type of plastics available now.
I've heard about these different types of plastics, like single-use plastics, biodegradable plastics. What are the different types of plastics, and how are they different to each other?
Right. So single use, recyclable, and biodegradable, right? Yes. So single use is type of plastic that you only use for one time and then you just discard it. Just like the plastic bottle that we use for the mineral bottle and the packaging of snacks, of your chip, uh, and then your straw also it's called single use plastic because we cannot use it for several times. And then for the recyclable one, it's the type of plastic that we can recycle. So recycling is like giving the second life to the plastic. So once we are done consuming the plastic and we discharge it, then we can process it again. So can have the second life of it. Then we can use that again and before we dispose it again. And then the last one is the biodegradable. So biodegradable is the type of plastic that is made using some kind of components. Usually it can be from the cassava starch or other organic starch. So by using that, it becomes more easily to be degradable in the environment. So, but but sometimes this biodegradable also for this plastic to get fully degraded, you will need certain condition of the environment. Like for example, you need constant for 40 degrees Celsius of the environment before the plastic can finally be degradable. So sometimes it can also be misleading, or sometimes a lot of the companies just use that kind of term for a marketing gimmick, just to give label to it, but you don't really know whether it's true or not. Yes, I have also seen some type of plastic with written the label of recyclable, while I know that that kind of plastic cannot be recycled. And so we need to be a smart consumer also. When you see certain label with that saying it's recyclable or environmentally friendly or it's biodegradable, we also need to recheck whether it's true or not. So not to so don't just trust all this marketing trick sometimes because it can be misleading also.
Yeah. Over
Mm.
here, there's this like grocery company. Whenever they ship it to us, it says that the bags are biodegradable, but there's no
Mm.
way to test it out to see whether they're actually biodegradable or not.
Oh, to check. Um, usually you can like bury it under the ground and just leave it for 1 month, 2 months. If it's really biodegradable, then it should be it should really like disappear. Like you cannot see the actual shape of that plastic anymore. If if it's really biodegradable, so it will only take 1 month or 2 months. But but if after 2 months you buried that plastic there and you check that the plastic is still there, still intact, then it means that, well, it's just another marketing gimmick. But also, if the plastic is really biodegradable, then the plastic will also still become microplastic. And with the microplastic, it will just stay there in the ground, the and if it's raining, then the water will will wash off that microplastic to the water system, and yeah, it can get into our the water that we use in our life as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because I also saw in that same documentary that like what scientists did a test where in human waste they found like loads of microplastics, and they also said that they think that microplastics might have been there in our body even before like the plastic that we use
Hmm.
today was actually invented.
Yeah, yeah. Even I also read a study that showed that there the scientists even found microplastic in the baby's feces, and yeah, and it's still a baby, but there's already microplastic in their body. So yeah, how scary it is.
So, what is recycling and how does it work? Because I hear about it every day, but I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, so as I said before, recycling is like giving the second life of plastic to the extra life for the plastic. And there are various ways to do it. We can do it by the most common one is called the physical recycling. So this kind of recycling is done by altering the shape, the form of the plastic. For example, it's like the one that we do at my dad's recycling business. So for this kind of recycling, then we use the PET waste bottle, the plastic bottle. We bought this plastic waste bottle from the informal scavenger here in Indonesia, and then we grind these bottles into tiny flakes, and then also while washing it at the same time to remove all the organic materials that is there, and then also to separate with the other kind of substances that we don't want to be there. And then after the plastic is already grinded and washed, and then we dry these plastic flakes by using a drum dryer, where you just spin these plastic flakes and then the water will come out. And after that, we just collect it in a huge sack of the plastic flakes, and then we send it to a fiber manufacturing company, and they will use the fiber to produce a carpet. So in this fiber manufacturing company, the flakes that already produced by my dad, it will be melted using a very high temperature, melted, and then it will produce just like a string, so a long string, and yeah, just roll it, and they will process it into a fiber. uh, and yeah, that's I think that's the most common way to do the plastic recycling. Also, other than carpet, we also use it a lot our clothes for our clothes as well. We use we can also use the some materials from the recycled plastic. And other than the physical recycling, there's also another one with the chemical recycling. So this recycling is done by altering the chemical structure of the plastic. I cannot really explain much about it because it's too complex. But this kind of recycling is much more expensive than the physical one because it requires more complex system and also equipment. So this kind of recycling is not it's not really common, especially here in Indonesia. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sounds simple, but yeah, sadly it doesn't really work for all type of plastic.
What is marine plastic waste?
Marine plastic waste is the plastic waste that end up in the ocean. So there is this one term, it's called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So it's where all of the plastic waste, it all came into this one place, and it's like it's forming like an island there, but this island is made full of plastic. So and this plastic is can mostly it come from the land-based source because it's uh from where we live, because maybe you can see that a lot of people are littering everywhere, right? People litter in the water canal, and then the water will just run off all this water and just bring it to the ocean. And there are a lot of river and water canal all around the countries around the world, right? And it all get collected into the sea and it becomes one. And other than the land-based source, the marine plastic also come from the sea base. So and it is caused by the activity of the fishermen, the fishing activity, because the fishermen also they use like fishing net and other fishing gears, and it's all made from plastic. And a lot of fishermen, they once they are done using it, and they will just dispose this fishing gear to the ocean. So for them, the ocean is just like a huge trash bin, because once you just throw it away easily, and then it disappeared, then you cannot see it anymore. So that's why a lot of people do it. But then all of this plastic waste, it all accumulates into the ocean. And as I said, it's really affecting the life of the marine life there. A lot of plankton, starting from plankton, small fishes, they eat all this microplastic, and then the plankton is eaten by bigger fish, and then the bigger fish then is eaten by us, and that's how most of the microplastic come into the human's body. uh, yeah, so the problem is it's affecting the marine life, and the second one is once the plastic reaches the ocean, it will be very difficult for us to collect all this plastic waste, because the ocean is just so huge, and then it's very wide, very and also very deep, that you don't know exactly where all of these plastic are. So it's very hard to collect the plastic waste once it's in the ocean. So that's why a lot of people are now concerned about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of startup are now working towards it as well. Yes, it's very challenging once it's in the ocean, and it's a really big problem, I guess.
Yeah, because if it can suddenly becomes a huge big patch, then if a
Mm,
big fish goes there, it could eat lots of the plastic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's also it's also not that easy to collect that plastic, because a lot of small fishes are there as well. So yeah, it's hard to only catch all those plastic without catching the fish or the other living animals there.
Yeah. Do you think we can find a way to save our planet? Or will what we have done to it with plastic haunt us forever?
Um, yeah, even though even though it's still very far from now, but I'm optimistic that we can find a way. And there are several reasons why I say that it's possible. So now more and more people are more aware, more concerned about it, especially the younger generation. We are aware about how this plastic is threatening our life, and a lot of people are now taking action. So from there, there are also a lot of startups coming up. There are a lot of startups doing the that doing the cleanup at the beach. Maybe you have heard Seven Clean Seas. It's a startup based in Singapore, I guess. So they are also doing this kind of plastic cleanup at the beach or at the water canal, and also a lot of funding are going to this kind of activity. A lot of funding from the World Bank, from the UNEP, because they are concerned, they are aware about how damage that it can cause. Then a lot of money is going into this sector. And then also another thing is also there is this term called EPR. It's called extended producer responsibility. It's like a policy where the producer, the manufacturer of food, because they are the one who use a lot of plastic by using this plastic to for the packaging of the food or the drink that they produce, right? And by having this policy, we ask them to extend their responsibility by not only just producing all their products and sell it to their consumer, and that's it, they're done. But now, because of this EPR policy, we ask them to also be responsible of the all the waste that they are causing. So we ask them to also find a way to collect all the waste that they have been producing. For example, some companies that I know that already do this EPR policy, there are Coca-Cola, there's also Unilever. So this kind of company, they show the responsibility by setting up a new plastic recycling company, and then they also like they develop some point where they can collect their waste, and from that waste, then they will bring the waste that they produce back into their recycling facility. Then they produce it back, and then they can use it again in their product. So that's all the evidence that I believe we are we are moving to the right direction. But even though there are already a lot of people working there, but I believe that we as the consumer, we also still need to play our part, because we cannot just do nothing and expect the government or the companies to do all the cleanups for the waste that we produce, right? But we also need to play our part. Uh, so I believe once everyone is already have the same vision, and if everyone is determined to tackle this plastic issue, then I believe that we can finally find a way to finally solve this issue. So it just takes time, and for us, the consumer, to be more aware about it, to be more responsible consumer. The first thing is just to stop litter everywhere, to make sure you dispose all the plastic waste that you used into the correct bin, and as much as you can to say no to single-use plastic or other kind of plastic.
Yeah, that that sounds really good. So dear listeners, please follow those tips and don't use single-use plastic or try and avoid using it.
Yes, I agree. And you can easily start from the plastic bag that they usually give to you at the supermarket or the mini market. I think once you keep on doing it, it will eventually become a habit. So it will not be a problem anymore to bring your own reusable shopping bag with you everywhere, or bring your reusable straw everywhere. It will eventually become a habit.
Yeah, because in Singapore, in lots of the supermarkets, they charge you like $1 or $2 for a plastic bag, plastic carrier.
Yeah, but yeah, but here in Indonesia, they also charge for plastic bag, but the price that they charge is still very cheap. Like it's not even $1, not even 50 cents. It's still very cheap. So still a lot of people are using it. Yeah, and I think now also there are a lot of companies that also trying to find other kind of materials that can substitute plastic, and I think that will be the most promising solution for this plastic issue, because just like the vegan movement, like you want people to become vegan, but if you don't provide them with the alternative of the meat that they usually consume, then it will be hard to make people to become a vegan. So that's why a lot of people now are working to develop the alternative protein, right? And that's also the same case with plastic. Now a lot of companies now starting to develop the materials that can substitute plastic, but with much less harm caused by it. For example, I've seen startup trying to produce the substitute of styrofoam using fungi, mushroom. So they use the fungi and grow it into using a mold, and yeah, it can really protect the product, but it will not become it will, it's because it's organic, right? So it will be it will not harm the environment. Uh Also, I've seen companies producing from algae and other, and also the from the waste of the shrimp. So I think a lot more and more innovation are coming, and yeah, I'm excited to see the future.
Do you think that there'll be a alternative to plastic, or like a replacement for it that will be as huge as plastic?
Yeah, yeah. Well, most of the examples that I mentioned earlier, it's even though it looks promising, but for now the cost that they need to produce it, it's still very much higher compared to plastic, because it's very cheap to produce the plastic, while to produce the alternative of the plastic, it's still very expensive now. So I think once we can like scale the production of it to make it more economically viable, I think, yeah, we might see that kind of materials can really substitute plastic in the future. But but I don't think we can ditch plastic 100%, because there are some uses of plastic that I feel that it will be hard to be substituted by other material. For example, like the plastic that we use for our car, our jet. I don't think it can be replaced using any biodegradable material. Yeah, because it will not last long. But for other kind of materials, I'm optimistic that there will be a new materials coming up that can really change the plastic.
Yeah, I really hope so because then we won't have to worry about destroying our planet so much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, hope so.
From plastics to cage-free farms is a leap. How did you come about doing what you do now?
Yeah. I got that a lot, and also sometimes I'm also wondering why am I now working for this kids free? But for me, what's important is as long as what the work that I do can bring positive impact to the environment or the other living beings around me. That's what matters the most for me. So yeah, even though working for the plastic waste sector, it's helping the environment, but I feel that working with this kids free also it also bring positive impact, but it's just in different way. And other thing is also because I feel that for plastic waste issue there are already a lot of people working on it. Well, for this catchery, the farm animal welfare, especially here in Indonesia, it's one of the topic that's neglected the most. I rarely see people working on this farm animal welfare issue. So that's why, yeah, I just do what I can do to bring positive impact to 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 the environment and to other living being. And I'm happy to work with for this kids free movement here, and I also believe that the future will be bright for the kids free movement here. The more people are involved in this.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
You are welcome. It's been a pleasure for me. Uh,
Yeah, I really enjoyed speaking to you. I learned a lot.
yes, thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you for all of the your very interesting question. I hope I hope from what the answer that I gave, it can bring more awareness to you or other listener as well. So with more and more people are aware about this issue, and I believe we can see the solution much sooner, much faster.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedat, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedant wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on curiousvedant.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedant, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.